Welcome back to KTN Prime. Thank you for staying with us. We now want to talk about the new baby in town, the Democracy for Citizens Party, DCP, which was unveiled today by the party leader, the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua. And according to him, this is a national party with roots in the Mount Kenya region. Listen to an excerpt of his speech today.
To the respect of human rights and freedoms, integrity in leadership, rule of law, social justice and fairness, devolution of power and resources, equity, equality and inclusivity, unity in diversity, accountability and transparency, citizens' effective participation in governance and decision-making.
So in retrospect, that's part of what the party encompasses, and that grand launch is actually expected on the 4th of June. And the DCP Deputy Party Leader, Cleophas Malala, joins me in studio for a brief discussion on what exactly follows next after the unveiling of the party by the party leader, Rigathi Gachagua. Thanks for your time. Karibu sana to our studios.
Thank you, Jesse.
It's been a while, yeah?
Thank you, it's been a while.
Asante for making time.
Yeah.
First of all, I'll say congrats on the unveiling. It's been a long time coming. But I have to ask, what's the party's philosophy and ideology? Because the naysayers claim that this is a tribal party, quote unquote. There are others who mention that, you know what, at the end of the day, it's a national party on paper, but its roots are simply in Mount Kenya, despite having leaders from all parts of the country.
First of all, I want to take this opportunity to thank God that this has been such a wonderful day. It feels so much refreshing to have a day when a child is born. A child in the political environment, in the political sphere, in the political ecosystem, whereby it's been long to have a party which has got a rallying call, a party which has got a message that attracts masses in the shortest period of time. Our party has been formed on a foundation of listening to Kenyans. That is why our slogan is Skiza wa Kenya, or rather in contemporary language, you can say Skiza ground. And the reason why that formed the basis of conceptualizing and forming this party, this is because many a times leaders have been wanting to be on the forefront and pulling the people alongside themselves. But this time around, we said we want to be a party that listens to Kenyans. We want to be a party that listens to its members. We've had parties which depend on individuals, so that an entire party depends on a character of the party leader or a certain official. When that official decides to change his ideology, he messes up the entire membership of the party. And that is why we say that this party will not be pegged on an individual, but rather on a rallying call. And that is why our call is Skiza wa Kenya. We want to listen to Kenyans. Okay. We want to listen to Kenyans and follow what they say. If Kenyans today say that they are uncomfortable with the new funding model in the university education sector, we will listen to them and do as they want. But we will not force on them policies, legislation that they do not want. We want to listen to Kenyans. If they say that we are tired and we do not want to pay, say, the housing levy, we will sit down with Kenyans, listen to them. We will not force down things down to Kenyans. And therefore, this is a home of inclusivity. This is a home whereby we have a lot of tolerance when it comes to ideological differences. And our party leader has been very categorical on the importance of listening to Kenyans. You know, history must be inscribed that the second deputy president of the Republic of Kenya was impeached because he tried to advise his boss to listen to the ground, but his boss was adamant. I was removed from office because I tried to advise my former party leader to listen to the people, but he was adamant. And therefore we said, if that is the rallying call that will bind us together, then we will move with Kenyans who want to believe in that school of thought.
Speaking of history, you've been on record time and time again, because this is not your first party, Cleo. Most recently, you were the Secretary General of the ruling party, UDA, and even then, before the things got worse, you actually prescribed and pushed for the party ideals and spoke in a similar manner. So what's different this time round? What sets DCP apart from the previous parties you've been associated with, briefly?
And that's why I said, you see, in history, we've had parties whereby they are pegged on an individual. So that when that individual changes, then the entire party changes. I don't want to mention names here, but we've seen parties whereby they are formed on the basis of trying to lift people from the low level of the society to the upper level of the society. But once that leader or the leader of the party changes his personal character, then he puts the entire party in jeopardy. And I started by being a member of ODM party. I was a member of ANC party. I was never an official. But you see, the ideologies of ODM party were fully dependent on the leader. So when the leader changes, and maybe I do not agree with his current ideology, I have a right as a Kenyan to move to the next party. And that is why I said that the reason why we formed this party, we have a shared history. And many Kenyans right now would want to be heard. That is why we are saying, Skiza wa Kenya.
Okay, it was not all too rosy today because rowdy goons stormed the venue at the party in Villing, trying to disrupt the event. And here's just a glimpse of the ensuing melee. Take a look. Those are some of the scenes that played out during the unveiling of the DCP party. And of course, we rebuke such actions because it goes without saying Kenyans must exercise democratic tolerance. Though this isn't the first time that Gachagua's functions are disrupted by rowdy goons. First of all, it's unfortunate that even journalists were targeted, not by the goons, but security officials. I was speaking to some colleagues and they gave some harrowing experiences. We would like an apology, but perhaps equally, talk to us about how you'd quantify the response by police service in terms of provision of security. You talked to them, informed them there'd be a launch. What was the reaction?
First of all, I want to take this opportunity to say sorry to the journalists who were assaulted. That was not a part of our plan. I want to remember, ahead of the planning of this meeting, we officially notified the police and told them that we shall be having a party launch here. You cannot launch or you cannot unveil a party in secrecy. Our physical address is very conspicuous when you pass that road. And therefore, it was in public domain that we are coming to launch a party. But we did not at any point expect that reaction from a planned, chaotic group. That group, and I want to say here, was planned by government because government is paranoid. If you want to, I want to justify my statement. Because how then would you have hundreds of youth coming to an event, wanting to disrupt an event? They have not been invited. And then when we have chaos, the police kept off totally. Up to now, no police officer has visited that premise. Up to now, no police officer has called the party to know what went wrong. And therefore, this was a planned exercise. It was planned that this party should not be launched. This party must be stained with optics of chaos. And what we are saying that we know government is paranoid at the moment, but we want to tell those people planning chaos all over Kenya. Wherever we go, chaos is planned. This chaos is meant to intimidate us. We want to tell them that as a leadership of the party, we will not be intimidated because we have Kenyans. And we are focused to ensure that we build a party that is tolerant, a party that is all-inclusive, and a party that is peaceful. We are focused on building the party. We will not be derailed by these sideshows.
Okay, your critics might argue that you're trying to draw sympathy by planning some of these things, but that's a story for another day. I'd like to talk about how your party leader is attempting to control the political direction of Mount Kenya region, because some critics say that Gachagua is pushing for one-party dominance in Mount Kenya, insisting that diverse political voices are part of the president's plan to divide and conquer. He's falling short of saying some of these other parties are sponsored by President William Ruto to divide the vote come 2027. So what's your reaction to this? Because you have to have consensus with like-minded parties who are equally from the region, Jubilee, just to mention a few, PLP as well, Martha Karua. How will you push for consensus?
I think that is a political narrative that is trying to be spread by our opponents. Huh? To the best of my knowledge, my party leader is a very inclusive leader. Recently, you saw him hosting leaders in his Wamunyoro village. Sure. He hosted leaders who had even political parties from that region. The guest of honor of that event was Martha Karua of PLP. Jubilee Party was present. We are working with like-minded parties. You've seen him even working with Dr. Matiang'i. Recently, you saw him working with the DAP leader. And therefore, this narrative of saying that we are pushing for a one-party dominance in Mount Kenya, I think is a narrative trying to be propagated by our opponents so that we divide the opposition. We want to say that the opposition is intact. We know the tactics that they are using, but we are saying we are focused to bring change in this political ecosystem.
Okay.
Political parties must have discipline. We must have political parties that are formed and are formed to ensure that we bring people together to achieve a certain goal that is going to better our country. But if you have political parties being formed so that others can be killed, I think that was not the spirit of the drafters of the Political Parties Act in Kenya. Political Parties Act allows people to form political parties anytime they want, so long as those parties do not advance negative ethnicity. Today, when we launched our party, people were speculating that this is a Murima party, this is a Mount Kenya party. But look at our list of officials. That is a typical face of Kenya. We saw of party officials emanating all the way from Masai land to Luo land, to Luya land, to Mlima. And therefore, that narrative that DCP is a Mlima party died at birth.
Okay, interesting. Let's see how the cookie crumbles. Let's talk about by-elections that are pending. Of course, once the IEBC nominees are cleared by the National Assembly, vetting and approval and all that, we expect them to hit the ground running in terms of organizing by-elections. Do you plan to field candidates in all these constituencies, perhaps including Bere North, where one of the like-minded parties, DP, had fielded the previous Member of Parliament?
First of all, as the party leader said today, that we are going to field candidates across the country. But we are also going to be strategic, depending with the coalition that we will have with our sister parties.
Okay.
We are going to be strategic so that we avoid intra-competition. So that if we are in a coalition and we think that it is not necessary for us to compete with Wiper in Machakos, we will agree in a manner that is stipulated in the Political Parties Act, and we will support our sister parties. And therefore, it is a matter that must be said on the onset that we are a political party, but we are not autonomous. We are a political party ready to engage with other political parties, and therefore we shall be strategic in our approach. DP is our sister party. And we do not have any problem. If we see it is strategic to support DP, we do not have a problem. What we are saying is that we want to ensure that we build coalitions of trust, coalition of support, so that we do not have a coalition whereby we have a political party within the coalition competing against each other.
Okay. The Gachagua allies who are still UDA members, as a matter of fact, some of them were actually present during the party unveiling today. And I'm sure you're aware of the consequences that follow once a legislator prescribes to the ideals of a different party, apart from the one that sponsored them to the National Assembly, or is it the Senate? So how will your friends avert disciplinary action? Are they ready to resign and go for a by-election?
I will stick my conversation within the corridors of the Political Parties Act.
But they associate... Okay.
Within the corridors of the Political Parties Act. The Political Parties Act of 2013 clearly stipulates that when two parties merge, then the members of those respective parties have got an option of resigning from that party or automatically being deemed that they are not members of the original party, so that they are not compelled to move with that merged entity. Recently, ANC and UDA merged. UDA is no longer the original UDA we used to know. This is a merged party.
Okay.
And members have got the freedom to choose whatever party they want to choose. We have members who are still, even in UDA, they have not resigned, or they still believe in UDA. But there is nothing wrong with them associating or coming to an event like that to benchmark. And therefore,
so they were benchmarking.
Some of them have not categorically said that they have left UDA, but UDA, we no longer have the original UDA. It must be very clear that UDA merged with ANC to form something else that I don't know what the name is at the moment.
And that's on paper, yeah.
And therefore, the law says that once a party and another party merges, then members of those parties have got the liberty to choose whatever party they want to choose.
Between the two, okay, within that merger?
Not within that merger,
okay.
even another party.
So you want to tell me, due to the merger, a member of parliament can clearly associate with DCP as early as now without any consequence?
Oh yes, read the Political Parties Act.
Okay, I'll do my homework. Let's, due to interest of time, I'd like us to talk about the issues that will play
Not unless you tell me
that
was not a merger. But according to me, we saw ANC and UDA party leaders signing a merger at State House.
Okay.
And to the best of my ability, to the best of my knowledge, I know that once there is a merger, members of parliaments, leaders within that party, ordinary members have got the liberty now to choose whether to stick within that entity or choose another political vehicle.
Interesting. We'll talk to the lawyers and see their take on that matter. The opposition has been criticized for lack of policy. Wanasema hamna sera. And I'm sure you've heard that time and time again in political gatherings. If the simple goal is to remove President William Ruto from power, then it might leave a bad taste in Kenyans' mouth in terms of those who are inclined to issue-based politics. So talk to us about Sera. How do you respond to such claims?
I think if we have had an opposition which has ideologies, is this opposition. Because ours is to listen to Kenyans. And if Kenyans want William Ruto to get out of power, they have reasons why they want William Ruto to get out of power. We do not just want to say that Ruto must go.
Okay.
We are saying Ruto must go so that we can restore the dignity of a Kenyan public servant. When Ruto goes, we will ensure that that dignity of the payslip is restored. We are not just saying Ruto must go. We want him to go fast so that we can now reevaluate the housing levy policy. We are saying Ruto must go so that we can now reevaluate his policies when it comes to private-public partnership, privatization of state-owned organizations. You saw recently him, without following any legislative or any provisions of the law, dishing out state-owned organizations to individuals. We want to say that the opposition is with the people of Kenya who want Ruto to go out of power so that they can regain the dignity of this country. This country is now driven by selfish people who want to have personal gains. Look at our headlines today. The University of Nairobi is collapsing. Moi University is no longer there. State organizations like Bomas of Kenya, Nzoia Sugar Company, are being auctioned day in and out. I'm told, again, they are reintroducing the selling of JKIA through the same person called Adani, but now packaged in a different company from, I don't know which jurisdiction, I don't want to mention right now, coming again to take our national heritages. And therefore we are saying, if actually our agenda, our manifesto is that Ruto must go so that we can have our country back, then I accept. That is our agenda, and that is the agenda of Kenyans.
As we finalize, 30 seconds, how many people have registered for the party so far? And equally, talk to us about plans to mobilize, a mobilization drive to popularize the party across the country. Briefly.
We have set a date for the launch of the party. Today was not the launching of the party. We were only unveiling the party. We have unveiled the officials of the party. Thereafter, we are going to launch the party on 4th of June. From there, we are going to have a national-wide recruitment drive. I'm surprised today only, we have received almost 1.6 million Kenyans joining our party until the system was jammed. Now, as we speak right now, the system is jammed. And we want to ask Kenyans that this is the home of inclusivity. This is the home where you can be heard. This is the home where there is warmth of exchange of ideas. And an incubation center whereby we nurture young leaders. This is the first party to have almost 10 people seated at the topmost organ of the party. We have young Gen Zs who are unveiled today, young girls, young boys, who we are willing to nurture and incubate their leadership aspirations. So I want to urge Kenyans that we have opened up doors. This is a party for everyone. This is not a tribal party. This is a party for every Kenyan who believes in the rallying call, Skiza wa Kenya and Skiza ground.
Asante, kazi kwenyu. Of course, we know that there are numerous parties, over 90 parties registered in Kenya. So it all depends with how you hit the ground running to popularize the party ahead of the 2027 general election. Asante sana for your time.
Thank you.
And we see you don the party colors. All the best as you continue with the launch. That was Cleophas Malala, the deputy party leader of the Democracy for Citizens Party that was unveiled today. We understand the launch is coming a little bit later on the 4th of June, but trust us to keep you updated on the latest happenings within the political space. We take a short break. We'll be back in